Hi, welcome back. I'm in between classes today, so I thought I might as well share with you what I'm teaching the students today. Here in Southern California, we garden year-round because today is a beautiful day in the garden. We're talking about the weather, and as you can see, this is the magic weather of Southern California. We are probably about 75 degrees. Sorry for those of you under blankets of snow, but this is the magic that allows us to garden year-round and have amazing school gardens. Today, our lesson is on plant cousins. I went through the garden and I picked 3 leaves for them to identify. This is probably the one that you're gonna know the most familiar with. And then there's these other 2. You might be able to guess this one. I highly doubt you'll be able to get this one unless you actually garden and are good at leaf identification. So what I want the students to know is that these are cousins, just like they might have. I show the leaves to the students and I say, okay, what does this one look like? I'm gonna give you a clue. And most of them by now, they know kale, they love to eat this, they turn into baby goats. It's the best to see the kids come through here and munch away. The plants don't look so good because they do have free reign to take pieces and try it. And I have parents reporting back that the kids absolutely are now kale lovers and will eat it at home. Not everyone, but some. And then I ask them, okay, now that you know that it's kale, what kind of kale is it? And they're like, bumpy kale. Okay, I get it. You see bumps, good observation. And then I ask, okay, I'm gonna give you a clue. The name of this has to do with the texture. So you've got the bumps, but what extinct creature could possibly have skin like this? And usually by then, especially if they're in 3rd grade or up, they guess a dinosaur. So this is Dino kale, and that's a really easy way for them to remember. So they like to go through and take a bite and eat. Now I say, okay, now these lesser known cousins, this one starts with the C. This variety is actually purple, so you can see the leaves are a little bit purple. And I tell them that it is actually something that you probably don't see in this form. Sometimes it's chopped up in a bag and less likely in full leaf. Definitely not purple. You might see it at a farmer's market. If you didn't guess, it starts with the C. It's 2 syllables and it is a collard green. And this one is a purple collard green, and we have collard trees here that in Southern California, they just keep growing and growing. Really tasty. And fun fact, when they're like this, people who like to avoid carbs actually use this as kind of a tortilla substitute or a wrap substitute and make a little wrap. The students actually like to take one and they wrap inside the kale leaves, or even this, they will take a big leaf, put some kale in there, wrap it up, and then munch away. It's amazing. And then they'll even stick in some green onion, some fennel, just whatever they can find. If they'll ask me, can I eat this? Can I eat this? And most of the time they can. So they grab and do that. First, we talked about Dino kale. That's the purple collard greens. And this last one, I wanted to show them, they look almost the same other than size, right? So sometimes size in a leaf is just the amount of time it's been growing. But in this particular case, they're different plants. And to the untrained eye, they look pretty much the same. Now, I know that based on other clues from this plant and also what we've seeded and where it's growing, that this is different. And you wouldn't know what this is because what you buy from the market or even the farmer's market, you don't typically buy the leaves. This plant is not grown for the leaves, while the collard is grown for its leaves and harvested and eaten and cooked, right? So this, if you grow it at home, you can almost call it a delicacy because you can't buy it. This is actually a broccoli leaf. So the broccoli plant, the whole thing is edible. So this is broccoli leaf, you can eat it. And so I encourage the students to take a bite of the leaf, take a bite of the stem, the flowers, the buds, and see if it all tastes like broccoli to them. So in review, we got Dino kale, purple collards, and broccoli. And I encourage the students to take a bite of all 3 and say, hey, do the cousins taste similar? Is it different? And really just get comfortable picking, harvesting, and eating. We don't use any chemicals. We don't use any pesticides or anything in this garden. It's really not necessary. There's a whole little ecosystem. We have birds here who eat a lot of the little critters, and there's ladybugs to take care of aphids. So it's really well balanced right now. We don't have an overrun situation of any particular pest. That's also why fall, winter is my favorite time to garden in Southern California, because it's a little too cool for infestation for pests, and it's just so much nicer and it's easier on the body. Another plant that I introduced to the students today was this one. And you might not be familiar because, again, this one is one that you don't eat the plant, okay? Typically. So at least I haven't seen an application where you eat the plant. You let me know in the comments if you eat this plant. This particular plant, I gave the kids some clues, and there was a really cute story behind it that I'll tell you as we figure out what this is, okay? So this plant, I told the students, I don't expect them to know it because this is just one leaf. And if I step back, this is longer than my arm. So you can imagine the plant could be bigger than my wingspan, right? So I said, it's a very large plant. And a lot of them said, after the Dino Kale, they said, it's a dinosaur plant. And then another said, it's a fern. And I like that they're using the observation of the shape of the leaves, because it does look a little fern-like, but it's not a fern. And then I gave them some more clues. I said, and they were all wanting to raise their hands, right? And so I said, put your hand down if it doesn't start with an A. So this plant starts with an A. And I also said it has 3 syllables. So we're talking about elementary school students. So I said syllable, right? So each clap is 1 syllable, and this one has 3. So some of them put their hands down, and then I said, so it starts with an A, has 3 syllables, and it rhymes with the word poke. I also said, and then some were like, okay, really thinking, and I said, I'll give you one more big clue. Even the teachers in the back were trying to figure out what this plant is. And I told them that it is typically in one of their favorite dips, maybe, mixed in with spinach and blank dip. Okay, and usually there's cream cheese or other cheeses mixed in there. It's hot and gooey, and you dip a chip in or put it on like a cracker or toast. So at this point, I have one student, and he's like, ooh, pick me. And it actually happens to be my friend's son, and I absolutely 100% texted her right after class to say, your son was the cutest thing in this class, because this is what he said. Just to review, the clues were, it starts with A, 3 syllables, and it rhymes with poke. I said, okay, if you know it, on a count of 3, 1, 2, 3, say it, right? And I think at home, you probably figured it out already, especially with the spinach dip clue, but they all got it wrong. But my friend's son said oak leaf plant. It has 3 syllables. You don't eat the leaf, you actually eat the acorn, so it starts with an A. So I thought, wow, this kid, even though he's like a 3rd grader, was really using his brain and thinking, and I absolutely loved how the deductive reasoning was going. I gave him props for, A for acorn. He came up with oak leaf plant. It does rhyme with poke, right? He got that part. So I immediately told my friend that you have a little critical thinker, and I had to share because it was just the cutest thing. The answer is artichoke. I told the students in the next few months, this artichoke plant is going to send out some blooms, and that is what you are going to eat. Now, when I say shoot out as an adult, we know that it just means a process of like it comes out. I had to clarify for these students that it's not like the flowers are going to be Super Mario style where you like shoot things out of a cannon or anything like that. The childlike curiosity is so inspiring for me, because I think as adults we often forget that. And one other thing that we kind of went over today was using our sense of smell to figure out what citrus is. And we have this cocktail tree right here, back there, And the students didn't realize this, but it's actually a 3-in-1. It used to have more branches. I see the tag and I think those branches didn't make it. But a 3-in-1 cocktail tree, meaning there was a rootstock and then they took 3 different types of citrus and grafted it onto it. So this tree has lemons, limes, and oranges. Now, unless there's fruit on it, you would not know what it is. But you can take a leaf, rub the leaf, and smell it to identify. And to the students, the leaves look pretty similar because they're all citrus, they're all cousins. But once you release the oils by smelling it, you can actually identify it better. And same with the fruit. Sometimes the students can't help it but pick fruit when they see it. So these are 2 different fruits. I don't know if you can tell. They kind of look very similar. They both have like a little pointy butt. They're kind of the same like on the outside appearance-wise, color, kind of yellowish green, right? But this one is actually a lime. I wish you could smell it because that would really solidify the answer for you. And then this one is a lemon. So this was picked prematurely. And then this one is actually a ripe lime. Limes should actually be yellow at their most juicy and sweetest. It smells so good. So also might be hard to see on the camera and on the screen, but this has a thinner rind, which is often characteristic of a lime that's grown well. And this one is a little bit thicker. You can't always judge by the rind because different varieties, different conditions of watering and temperature, that all changes the consistency of your fruit. That's it for this video because I gotta run. My students are almost here. And if you learned something new, hit the subscribe button and let me know your favorite part of what you learned in the comments.